Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got the new Cavalier event quest up for November, so this is just a quick run through all the bosses, having done my initial clear now. Pretty straightforward, I'd say, especially the first four. Then naturally the last two, Ikaris and Sersi, some new animations to get used to. I didn't really look them up before, so yeah, naturally that'll be a bit of a challenge. New abilities, new animations, so yeah, we'll get to those eventually. This first one is a ghost. He gains armor, and the only way to remove those indefinite armors is to just hit her block. But here I've got a torch with pre-fight, so I didn't really care about the armors. I just figured I'd let the Nova Flames do most of the work and play around it that way. So she's also got a falter node, so every 6 seconds she'll place a falter on you unless you hit her to reset that counter. So I say either be pretty aggressive to keep that counter resetting, or bring a mist counter, which obviously I have here in Torch, and I think he's a brilliant option here, particularly with its pre-fight, because obviously without it you'll be doing incinerates that she can then just shrug off into furies. And also if you knock it down, the potency or duration of those will be reduced. I think it's the potency, I can't quite remember from the node. But yeah, that was a really straightforward first boss with Torch. Alright, so second boss we have up here is a Dragon Man. He's immune to power manipulation, so you can't control his power that way, but you can continue to just stun him or block his special ones to remove his power gain buffs. I'm not sure if Void's Petrifies would still work. I imagine they should, as they're not like a direct power gain manipulation, they reverse it. But I didn't test that one out, as I just went through it with Torch. With Foresight as well, it does just make it a lot easier to just get some intercepts for boosting your damage, and other than that, it's pretty straightforward fight. Just be wary of bubble shield as well. Eventually, like, if it could get awkward timing where you're maybe on 10 bubble shield counts and he's got power gain and getting high on power, where you then don't get to parry him to remove the power charge. But yeah, as you can see, Torch just is absolutely melting this one, and I even took that combo at the end. So yeah. The third boss now is a Silver Surfer. Tenacity, armor, explosive personality, so yeah, nodes on him not too difficult. Just be wary he can shrug off the debuffs, and yeah, this one I just take with Doom, and it's a nice straightforward fight. Alright, so the fourth boss here was a Mr. Fantastic. As you can see, it's just mostly stuff to nodes to play on his ability to keep debuffs on you, and so you just really want someone to shrug, as you mostly would against him anyway. Yeah, the only thing I guess main thing to keep an eye on is there's a power access 1, so it's just going to get you to your special ones quicker and then slow your ability to reach your special 2 and 3. And of course, with the node giving you enhanced damage on your special 2 and reduced damage on your other specials, it just means a little bit of a delay getting to your special 2 that you'll want to throw for bigger damage. Don't take combos to the face like that either, but yeah, I think this actually kind of works out better for Shang-Chi here, just because I can then, build his chi charges further by performing more wushes while I have that reduced power rate above the special 1, and then dump a big special 2. But I think in this fight I actually do end up going all the way to a special 3 first. Yeah, I just took my eyes off the screen for a moment and ate the end of his special 2. I'd originally delayed because I wanted to try and get a perfect dex on it and get an extra chi charge that way, but took my eyes off and got punished. But yeah, I get to the special 3 and then I just build back up to the special 2 to finish it, I believe. But like I said, these first 4 bosses are really straightforward. And the 5th boss for this event quest was Ikaris, so we get our first look at him. Yeah, so he's got immunity to bleed on this node. He also naturally has immunity to shock, incinerate. So you don't want to be using Doom, because when you do apply something that he's immune to, he'll get a Fury and therefore go passively unstoppable as well from the nodes. So this was my first attempt at it, and I went with Claire. I don't get it down, but I have a decent run with her, so I just wanted to keep this in to showcase that she can probably go all the way, or at least put a good dent in for you. I then followed up with what I had left on Shang-Chi and went with Doom, and those two were just really didn't do much, so I left them out because they were quite pointless. I should also note that something you see a lot of in this fight, or would have at least in the start, was you can build power thanks to one of the nodes. You can build power by striking their block. I think it's kinetic reactor or something like that. So that's really handy because obviously in this particular matchup, when I didn't have buff immunity on him, and for most other champs, you don't want to be stunning him, because that will give him a Fury because of the Ragnarok node, and therefore he'll go passively unstoppable. So you want to, with Claire in particular, build your power by hitting his block, because then you can get to the special 2 and put buff immunity on him, and then parry freely and apply, bleeds that he's immune to, etc., and stuff like that to cycle up your power. But yeah, as you saw there, I did get clapped at the end, so unfortunately didn't get the solo on the first attempt, but I'd say it was a decent first go and gave me an idea. So I did reset her because she was actually in the end the only counter I had to him, and yeah, like I said, I went in with Shang and Doom and did basically nothing to him, and then had Nick and Molman left. So yeah, I restarted the path, came back in again with Claire, and this run does not go so well. But this time I have Ronan as well to cheese it, because as you can see that he's getting those energized buffs. I think he can get up to 10 of those when you're striking him. So with Ronan, obviously the plan is to get the special one. You can strike his block again to gain power that way, and then hit into him as well and get him up to those 10 buffs, and from there you can just stun lock and cheese it. Regardless of the passive unstoppable, that won't matter. You can keep, 10 buffs on him. It's more than enough to stun lock, and that's the technique I've gone for here. So yeah, hopefully that showcases Claire and Ronan. Ronan being probably the best option, but not everyone will have a dupe to Ronan, so I kept the Claire gameplay in to give an idea of another potential counter, and I'm sure there'll be a few more as videos are released. I haven't really checked out many others. I think so. When I had done this, I hadn't seen anyone else's, but since doing this and now doing the voiceover, I've seen Karate Mike, and he just, he uses Hercules. So anyone owning one of those, he's obviously, you can just do what Hercules does and smash stuff down without really needing to know much about the abilities on those of this fight. So yeah, I guess that's another option too. So the sixth and final boss is Sersi, and so she doesn't have any immunities to note, but she does have the ability with her transmutation buffs to reduce the duration of them by 30%, up to 30% per transmutation buff, and up to a maximum of 90%, so it's capped at 90%. So that's something to maybe note. Now with her here, she's got a few nodes that are going to benefit her power gain, like kinetic transference, and she has a glancing buff, so this triggers whenever you do, I think, a certain amount of damage, and essentially then goes on cooldown for 7 seconds, and while she has it up, she has a 100% chance to glance, and during specials she can pause that glancing buff. So you do really want some buff control for her, and yeah, you do also want to get to grips with evading her special one. It is actually pretty easy. I just really messed it up, having not seen it before. I was messing it up a few times. I kind of get the hang of it, but then I think towards the end I do get clipped by it, I think one more time, which cost me the chance of going on to solo this, but Claire is a great option for this fight in my opinion. But yeah, because she doesn't have any specific immunities, you can use Archangel to do this, so you kind of want to wait out her glancing buff, and then in that 7-second window get your neurotoxins up, and it's a pretty easy solo with Archangel from there, who is actually who I bring in to finish this. This is also the mutant chapter, so that ties in quite nicely, and yeah, that's the main thing that cost me a chance of getting the solo with Claire. I eat a heavy. I think that was the first time she threw a heavy, so I didn't know animations and I dashed in way too soon on it. She had that little second kick on the way down. But yeah, I go in and finish this one up with Archangel, so Claire and Archangel, two great options. I think I did also bring in Ronan. Now, I didn't get to test him out, but she does gain quite a few buffs as well, so I do feel Ronan Cheese might work here, but because of that glancing buff, that is what worries me as to, because obviously even if you wait it out the first time, it does come back, and then she has a 100% chance to glance, so you could probably still do it, because she'll be stun. If you get your stun on her just before it triggers again, it should disappear before you need to do the next stun. So I think it can be done, but yeah, like I said, didn't get a chance to try out, so won't be able to say for sure, but I would give it a go if you have a Ronan, and obviously bring other counters in case it doesn't work. But that's all for this Cav EQ, first run done, and hopefully this helps anyone going in to tackle it blind like I did.